Well, the 2020 election has been described by Nigeria's Nobel laureate, Professor Wole Soyinka, as one of the most depressing elections in the history of Nigeria's transition. According to him, in a recent interview, he says, "Talking for myself, it wasn't possible for me to make a choice for the simple reason that both candidates both had histories, one immediate, one past, which made one look for alternatives." Well, let's talk more about this with our guest who joins us from our Abuja studio, Dr. Mustapha Lekki, taking a look at how our general elections, what happened, or his own view of the general elections. If we have him, Mr. Lekki, thank you so much for joining us on the program. But first, let me ask your reaction to what Professor Wole Soyinka has said, that it was a depressing 2019 general elections for him.
Thank you very much for having me on. The very respected professor, of course, will have his say about the election, just as many millions of Nigerians will have their own conclusions about the election. They're all entitled to their opinions. And a number of them, of course, will be right, because there are many, the area of issues that came before the purview of the elections, as many as the number of commentators that you can find, were out there. So I'm not going to take any issue with Professor directly about issues regarding the election, whether it was depressing or not. Some may say so, and some may also find some silver lining in terms of some of the activities that took place during just this past general elections.
What would you say the integrity of the electoral process was? Some people have said it's deployment of academics as election officials, but for you, what was it?
Well, asking me as an election umpire, I think it's quite obvious that my conclusion will be predictable, in the sense that I will give it a pass mark. But let me say that no one single outcome can define the election. There are many issues to look at in judging the performance of both the electoral umpire as well as other stakeholders in the electoral process and the outcome of the election. You can look at any aspect as one and then take them piece by piece to determine whether or not this measure up to expectations. That is the way I would look at it. But I would say on the whole that thank God the election has come and virtually gone. I think that it was a fair election, I would say.
I also want to ask your thoughts. It appears that there are a number of court cases, over 600 I hear, that you are also a party to. It's also interesting that, this is being thrown up with this elections compared to previous elections.
I've lost the voice.
Mr. Lekki, if you can hear me, I'm saying that there appear to be a whole loads of cases, about over 600 cases, that, this is over the 2019 polls. And this is quite different from what we saw in past general elections conducted by INEC.
Yeah, that's true. As you can imagine, I mean, these cases are not cases that are thrown out by INEC. I'm not here to defend INEC, but I'm here to state what I know. These cases are manifestations of the actors in the electoral process out there in the field. A number of them are coming from primaries, and we have said it, our chairman of INEC has said it, that this was the most bizarre type of primary season we have ever witnessed, in terms of full of acrimony and all kinds of issues. So those acrimonies and issues are going to throw up cases, people who are dissatisfied, so they all end up in going to court. So I'm not surprised there's that many, up to 600 cases resulting from the electoral process, this 2019. And some of them are directly related to the election itself, and then we post-election issues. So it's true. I mean, when you have people where the primaries were botched, the primaries were not conducted even according to their own, criteria for free and fair and credible internal democracy or party politics, the issues are going to come out. So really, they're out there, and the INEC will participate as much as possible in terms of stating what it knows, to what extent it was involved in party primaries, and also it was not involved in party primaries. So the issues are out there, and usually after every election, we move to the next stage, which is a stage of the courts. So the courts are now in charge of all the various cases that are coming up, both pre-election cases as well as election cases that are coming up. It's true.
We'd like to thank you so much, Mr. Mustafa Lekki, for joining us on the program. We'll take a break now. When Lunchtime Politics return, we'll be going to the National Assembly, find out what the order papers are for today. Please join us again.